What's up, guys, and welcome back to Beyond the Void Horror Podcast. My name is Alex, and today we're going to be doing a spoiler-free review of a movie that just came out on Blu-ray called The Sound of Summer, and it's from Unearthed Films. Let's get into it. So The Sound of Summer just came out on the 16th. I had MVD Entertainment Group send me out a copy. They are a huge supporter of the channel. Please give them a follow on social media. They have a lot of movies that they distribute for just about everybody, including Unearthed Films. This is a movie that is a Japanese film that came out in 2022 for the festivals, and now we're just getting to see it on Blu-ray and the United States for the first time. The movie is about a young girl who's a barista at a coffee shop, and she's going through some really heavy heat in Japan. The cicadas come out at this time in Japan quite frequently, and there's people that like to go out and collect them. A lot of kids do, and often we'll find them at parks. After a while, this guy comes in who also likes to collect cicadas, who's not a child. He's an old man. He's kind of creepy. He wanders in and gives them different looks, and they kind of make fun of him at first. Essentially what happens is that one late night, she's been kind of freaked out by all these cicadas and the sound of their screeching at night and daytime. They're keeping her up all night. And she becomes insanely obsessed with them and thinks that the man that came to her coffee shop has stopped by her house and let cicadas into her room and put them inside of her. Yeah, pretty crazy. She starts to lose her mind, and eventually she doesn't even know what the hell is going on anymore in this sort of fever dream, body horror, psychological thriller that is very atmospheric and kind of impressive for the budget that it had. Apparently, this movie had a budget of about $4,000, and I don't know if that's yen because that would be like 30 bucks US. But the director of this movie is actually an Englishman from England who goes by the name of Guy. He used to go by Guy Pearce, and he has done a few shorts, but this is his first feature film. When he moved to Japan, he had issues with the heat because he's from England, and it's usually pretty cold there. He had heat stroke, he got sick, he didn't have an appetite, and these cicadas just kept going all night long, and he doesn't have those out where he was, so he came up with this crazy story. And that's how shit usually happens, right? So what did I think of this film? Well, it's an independent film, and it's very hard to kind of discuss this film without really spoiling anything, but it's like a body horror movie, and those are usually pretty atmospheric. A soundtrack and a score that is done by Microchip Terror, who is sort of an industrial dark synth artist that does even some like heavier stuff. And you also have the special effects, because it's all practical effects in this movie, by Susumu Nakatani, who did the movies Versus and Psycho Equal. Kind of a big deal, and I did not know that. Now, there's gore in this film, and there is some practical effects in it, although there isn't a ton like the movie Versus, but it is in there, and it costs money, so I'm sure because this movie doesn't really cost that much, being that it's $4,000, I'm assuming, it does pretty good for the budget. So there is some stuff in here that'll probably make you squirm. It's kind of the point. It's a body horror movie after all. They're sticking tweezers in spots that you probably wouldn't want to stick, and you're going to have to watch it. Now, it doesn't show everything. It's not that graphic, but it does show some stuff, and you kind of get the gist, and it's still kind of like, ugh, when you watch it. Now, I wasn't the hugest fan of this movie because, for one, it's a slow burn, and it takes a long time, about half the film, to really get to a point where it breaks. And I think that's where I started to enjoy the film a lot more. But it took a while, and you're going to have to wait to get to that point with the story, what this girl is, because she goes from super sweet to super insane, and then the insanity rolls out physically in front of you as to what's really going on. Now, it doesn't answer all the questions, so, it's just kind of bizarre atmospheric with the music and everything like that. And I think it does a pretty decent job at that. Is it the best I've seen? Clearly not. This isn't a David Cronenberg film, but it is a body horror film. And there are a certain breed of people who will get through some of these movies because they're not always the most like, you know, hey, this is what's going on. So don't expect too much on that angle, but just know that the director had a fear of, you know, when he moved to Japan and had that heat stroke and everything, and he turned this into some crazy idea. The idea of a fucking cicada man walking around sticking cicadas inside of you is pretty fucked up. This girl starts to mutilate herself in some pretty wild ways, and then it gets even more wild when you find out why they're connected. Now, I kind of have the idea of why, but it kind of is a little jumbled, and for that, I can't score this one too high. I still think it's a noble effort, an ambitious one on the budget that it has. Is the gore insane? No. But there is some good stuff in it and some really weird, bizarre stuff too. I mean, just looking at the cover, you can kind of get an idea. It looked like some dimensional creature from like H.P. Lovecraft. But, you know, I still enjoyed it, and I think it's about a 6 out of 10 for me. It is a smaller budget, and it's doing a lot. It didn't blow me away, and it could go down a little bit more, but there are some things in it that I really admired, and it kind of made me want to go out and make a movie. Really, this guy's doing a lot with very little, and it's impressive in that regard. So I can't score this poorly because it's good, but entertainment-wise, it's going to be a little hard for some people. You got to be a little bit more of a body horror fan, but it's not going to satiate every body horror fan. Some people have really big tastes. You know, they want to see a lot of gore, and, you know, this isn't going to necessarily have that, but it is going to have a pretty decent little story and some decent atmosphere once you get past the halfway point. I would probably say that, yeah, 6 out of 10 is pretty decent for this kind of film, all things said. I did check out the extras on here, and I really think they did a good job with this. Not only do you get the movie, but you also get one of his short films, and I think they snuck it in there because I'm looking at the notes here. It tells you all about it, and I can't even see it on there, but I know I saw it because I saw the name called Difficulty Breathing. It's one of the shorts he did in 2017, so just shortly after he moved to Japan. But they also have a trailer, the Japanese premiere, behind the scenes, Tokyo talk show with the creators of The Sound of Summer, loud and legendary director Shozen Fukui. And like I said, they do also have the short in there, so I'm going to be checking that out. Kind of interesting to hear this guy's story. The story itself was pretty decent. And it really goes to show you that you can get out there and do a lot with very little, with just a little bit of passion. I think it's worth watching. But again, if you're not deep into this kind of stuff, it might not be the best thing for you. So that's just me being honest. But you can pick it up from Unearthed Films, actually on their website, or I'll put the Amazon link down there where you can pick it up from MVD Entertainment. But it just came out on the 13th or 16th, I think. So you can now get this on Blu-ray for the first time. So if you like body horror and you like independent films, this might be a good, you know, thing for you. You might like it even more than me. But check out the trailer and see what you think, and maybe that'll give you a better idea. But thank you so much for coming by. Thank you, MVD Entertainment, for providing the movie for me. I'm really impressed with kind of Unearthed and what they've been doing lately, and so I've been picking a lot more of their titles up. I'll put all the links down below if you need anything. I would love to hear what your thoughts are on this movie. If you've seen the trailer, it's not going to be for everybody, and I always try to be honest with people about that, but I also try to be understanding of budgets and like independent films, because you can't compare them to big budget films. So me giving a score to it is kind of on a sliding scale based on an independent, very low budget film. And I think it's actually pretty decent. So, but yeah, let me know what you think in the comments section down below. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like and the subscribe button, of course. And if you enjoy my videos, please hit the bell notification to let you know when I got a new video coming out. I got a lot of physical media that I got to go over here, guys, so I'm going to be doing a lot of that. I got an interview with a director of a movie that's coming out on the 11th. We got a lot of stuff coming out on the 11th, so you're going to want to stay tuned as to what's coming out. But thanks for coming by, and as always, long live the board.